I don't know. I'm just curious about it. Curious about it. It's never. I mean, it's in my head 24/7. There's nothing else I can think of. I don't think about nothing else. If that's it, I'm just curiously fascinated with it, and I can't stop thinking about it. Everything I do in my life is is related to this. I don't do nothing else if it's not got to do with fighting. You know what I mean? And that is why, you know what I mean? To be truly good at something, all you've got to do is show up.
Is that not unhealthy?
I don't know. Do I look unhealthy? Take a look at this physique. I'm in phenomenal shape in body and mind. To me, what's unhealthy is living an unhealthy life. To me, what's unhealthy is getting up and going through the same day every day of life, 9 to 5 in an office or in a. That's unhealthy. That beats your mind. I don't work. I love what I do. And that's why I'm doing what I love. You know what I mean? That's why it's become a career for me, because I love it. I love what I do. So I don't think it's unhealthy. I I feel good in my mind. I mean, it's my life. I'm enjoying the fruits of my hard work. Nobody works harder than me inside the octagon, outside the octagon. I am a workhorse. So I'm going to enjoy the benefits of this life. I'm going to get myself a big mansion in Las Vegas. I'm going to get the soft top cars. I'm going to bring my whole team out. I'm going to spoil them and give them this life. Big steaks, that size. We're eating every single night each. We're eating good. We're living good. It's human nature. Some people will sit and take positivity from that. They will look at that and take inspiration and inspire. It will inspire them to go and push for that. Others will shell up and critique it and be negative towards it. But one thing is sure, those people will stay where they are. The people who take inspiration from it will rise up and also one day experience that life. So this is human nature. Some go one way, some go the other way. But I am enjoying my money, my hard-earned money that I have dedicated my life to. I was always getting pestered. What are you doing with your life? Are you doing this, doing that? They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what MMA was. They didn't know what none of this. They didn't know I could make a career out of it. As far as they were concerned, my man, that I'm talking about. As far as they were concerned, I was just getting into a cage and fighting with some other guy. They didn't know nothing about it. No one did really, but I knew. You know what I mean? I knew. But and then I ended up getting a trade just to keep them quiet. Because I used to have a lot of fights with me dad.
What trade did you get?
I ended up getting a trade as a plumber. Literally up in the back arse and nowhere up in the Wicklow Mountains. And funny enough, that site was one of the biggest sites in Europe. Kiltiernan, right at that skiing place. Huge, and now it's just abandoned. Now it's just deserted. So I used to go up there 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I was on that M50. I used to have to walk to the N4. About half an hour from my house, wait for some Limerick guy that I didn't even know. He'd drive on the M4 and I had to flag him down. Nightmare, yeah. 2 hours down on the M50, 2 hours back. Literally 14-hour days, and I was the first year, so I had to go and do everything. I had to go to the shop. I had to go and get this and get that. So I always had trouble with that, and I was like, this isn't for me. This is not for me.
How long did you last?
I lasted 18 months doing it. But it was tough, you know. Just it wasn't a life for me, you know. And then John said, because I was training with John as well at the time. And then John got in touch and says, I have a show, I'm running a show, I'd like to fight on it. And then that was it. I just packed it in, didn't show up. My dad used to come in and punch the head on me and like try and drag me out of bed. And I just wouldn't go. You know what I mean? I had an uproar for a good few years with him over it. And that was it. I just packed it in, quit, and then focused on training. I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was going to get here. They didn't. There's a lot of stressful years. You know what I mean? A lot of tough times. But I proved them wrong. I proved myself right. I cannot put one thing on it, John. I just love this life that I have created. I love this business. I enjoy work. I don't want to be anywhere else but here. So every day I'm enjoying myself. I wake up every day. I pinch myself. You want to see the room I'm sleeping in. You want to see the bed I'm sleeping in. You want to see the home that I am living in. There's an elevator in the home. So I'm on the third floor and I go out, click the button, and it goes from the third floor to the first floor. I open up the elevator and I go and eat some breakfast, and then we go stretch out in the sun, and we have a big pool, a jacuzzi. Look, I'm just enjoying the fruits of my hard work. Gratitude is one of the most strongest forms of power in attracting good things. You know, if you truly feel grateful for the things in your life, I always felt grateful for even the small things. I always used to celebrate the small things. Now I might be celebrating the bigger things, but I always celebrate every little good thing that would happen to me in my life, even before I had any kind of money or any of that. I would celebrate and I would feel grateful for it, and it just gave me more. And this is exactly the same thing that's happening right now. I still remain grateful, and more comes.
Actors, we can make you believe we know what we're doing, when in fact, we do not. Whoops, I have no idea what these but.
Somebody said to you, you'll have or you'll be as successful as you are now, what would you have said back then?
I believe you. That's what I would have said. Because I did believe.
Yes.
I believed in it. I had very few people who told me that. I had a small group of people that would tell me something like that. Other than that, it was just me telling myself.
Yep.
So if someone came up to me and told me that all the way back then, I'd say you're damn right.
I don't know how you do it. You seem immune to pressure. You got an entire nation on your shoulders, and you rise above it once again.
Yeah, I don't just knock them out. I picked around, John. Yeah, I said this. I'm sure you're probably all thinking in your head, this guy is talking absolute dribble. He's not going to do what he says he's going to do. You're probably all sitting there thinking that. But now here we are again. And I done what I said I was going to do. I feed off this. I love this stuff. This is what gives me energy. Saying I'm going to do something. Putting it out there for the world to see, and then going out and doing it. There's no better feeling in the world than that. And it's as easy as that. Say what you're going to do and go and do it. When you're chasing your dream and when you're working hard, chasing something you love and completely dedicated, it just happens. You can't really notice it. Even still to this day, I'm in an amazing position in my life.
What's going on, everybody? So welcome, good morning. Hopefully y'all doing amazing. This is episode number 289. So definitely appreciate y'all. This morning, I'm rocking my Cali club, rocking my Cali tour, crypto Cali tour, Stand with Crypto shirt that was given to me by El Presidente himself. So definitely, feeling good. And I put this shirt on this morning because I don't know, it's just a glorious morning. If you're investing into some of the assets that I know I'm investing into, it should be a glorious morning for you too. You should be up at least a couple $100, a couple extra $1,000, depending on how hard you went during the downturn of the markets, right? We're going to talk about a couple of things today, but today's show is entitled XRP, $1,000 price prediction for 2030, live on the New York Stock Exchange. Family, this is the first time that we've seen it. It's the first time that we've seen someone go on the New York Stock Exchange itself and make a prediction for XRP that was crazy. All right, $1,000 per XRP, I believe we're all set for a lifetime. And if you're not set for a lifetime at $1,000 per XRP, all right, you didn't do something right. Okay, you should go and do the calculation for yourself. How much will you be worth? I mean, that's just one asset, right? But how much would you be worth if your XRP went to $1,000, right? I believe, based on the numbers I'm looking at, that it's a good start to life. Like $1,000 XRP, that's a decent start to life. Okay. And hopefully you all are in a similar position with your XRP holdings. And if you're not, I want to be honest with you, right? Like if you're one of those people, like, let me do a calculation for you real quick. Okay. I'm gonna be real. I'm not trying to call nobody out or make nobody feel bad, but I do want to keep it a buck with you. All right. Check this out. If you got about $312 in XRP today, okay, if your value says $312, okay, that's 100 XRP. Okay, if you have 100 XRP, I'm gonna be real. Okay, I'm gonna be real. You're probably not gonna get rich off of XRP. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. It's gonna be a long time. Okay, it's gonna be a while unless XRP just does something like Bitcoin did. Okay, and right now we cannot predict that happening. 100,000 XRP. We can't go there. We got to at least we got to get to $10 first. Okay, then we got to get to 100. Then we got to get to 1,000. Then we would have to get 10,000. Then we would have to get to 100,000, right? So we got a long journey for XRP. So yeah, if you had 100 Bitcoin right now, you'd be doing all right. But that's Bitcoin. That's not XRP. So, today I just wanted to spend some time. We're going to talk about XRP. We're going to talk about a couple of other chains. We got some announcements of one of our favorite tokens being listed on a major exchange as of the 30th, which is tomorrow. So when you get this announcement, you'll probably, no financial advice, but you'll probably run to go and grab you some of this one. But we've been talking about this one for a while as well. And I believe that your bag should be packed, right? Everybody's bag should be packed to the best of your capabilities, right? And that's the most important part. So with that being said, I want to go dive straight into this first video now that we're 10 minutes into the show. Hopefully your friends and family are tuned in. And if not, then just understand they're finna miss one hell of a show. We have a lot of stuff to cover today, okay? And the first thing we're going to cover is a company called EZA app, which is actually built directly on the XRP ledger. And these are the founders right here. And these guys are speaking on the New York Stock Exchange, and you will be able to see that they make a bold prediction for the price of XRP by 2030. I hope you all enjoy this clip, and then we're going to dive into the rest of the information for the day. Enjoy.
EZA and how you got started.
First of all, thank you very much for having us on, Remy. It's a pleasure to be here in the stock exchange. And when we first got started, I wouldn't have imagined that we'd be here. When we first got into the space, that was 2013 through Bitcoin mining. And it was very much the street against crypto, and the crypto sort of likewise. We started EZA a couple of years ago now because we believe that blockchain is one of the single most important technologies in the history of humanity, perhaps even the most important. And so we know that we need to get more and more people into this space. So what we have is two things. Number one, the EZA app, where we have over 1 million users who learn about the world's leading blockchains like the XRP ledger with our amazing partners like Ripple, and also other blockchains like Stellar with our awesome partners at Stellar Development Foundation. They learn about it, and we are basically onboarding layer onto the world's leading decentralized networks and distributed networks. And the second thing that we do is, because our mission is to bring 1 billion people into Web3 and into crypto and blockchain, we recently started the EZA Labs, which is building out some of those core products and primitives, which are going to enable people to actually come into this space like nothing we've ever seen before.
And Phil, you brought up a lot of key points there. First and foremost, both of you are early adopters, 2013, getting into Bitcoin mining and looking at how far we have come in terms of the crypto marketplace. And I understand that hackathons are part of your DNA as well. So tell us about the inspiration for EZA.
Definitely. So Phil and I have been in blockchain for many, many years now. And before founding EZA, Phil was actually a lawyer, and I myself worked in finance, so at Blackstone, Goldman, and a couple of other places. And we really saw through our work at those amazing firms and also through our sort of daily lives that people really need to get educated on crypto. People need to get educated on blockchain. This is going to be one of the most transformative technologies of the decade. And if we don't educate people, they're going to get left behind. So for us, we wanted to share what we had learned with the public, which is why we built the EZA app, which is super easy, 100% free for anyone to actually download and use. And then obviously host the amazing hackathons that we host, which really attract a lot of people to the space and actually give them a platform to launch their ideas. And to this date, over $4 billion worth of projects have come out of our hackathons, which is super cool. We invest in those, we nurture those, we mentor those. We work very closely with our partners to actually make sure they become game-changing companies in the blockchain space.
So the EZA app and the EZA Labs, I want to know first and foremost, have any unicorns come out of EZA Labs?
Yeah, so we've actually had a big one come out recently called Cognition AI. They are one of the biggest AI companies out there right now. They recently acquired a couple of other AI companies too. They were founded by people who learned about Web3 AI through EZA, and then actually went on to go and raise hundreds of millions of dollars from the world's best VCs, Pete Thiel's founder fund, and many others. So now they're changing the game for both AI, but also developers who are building in the blockchain space. So super cool things that they're doing.
And Dom and Phil, your siblings, that makes you very unique as an organization. But also at the same time, when we think about how we use technology, we're constantly on our smartphones or our devices, and we're not necessarily in front of our laptops all the time. So tell me what's going on with the app and your vision for growth.
Great question. You're right. Pretty much I think last I checked, about 70 to 80% of all internet traffic goes through a mobile phone. That's why we designed EasyA to be mobile first. But I think in terms of where the future is headed, what we want to do is we want to make it a lot easier for anybody to use Web3. So if you talk about crypto, pretty much the only surface area or touch points that normal people have is essentially buying the stuff, right? And speculating on the price. That's obviously a huge part of it. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that normal people can also access them. So that's why we've always gone mobile first. And in terms of what we're doing with the EasyA labs as well, can't share too much exactly right now, but we have the EasyA white paper, which we're working on with some of the world's top leading researchers and academics on. And that's going to make it a lot easier for anybody to start using crypto and start using the blockchain as opposed to just speculating on it. So think about anybody using their smartphone to actually access this whole ecosystem of things. And that's really the beginning of what's going to take this industry from essentially a niche of people who are sort of experimenting or using it, but very, very technical, to just the everyday person. Anybody can use it as simply as they can, go to Starbucks and buy a coffee or use Uber.
Wow.
And both of you are here at the New York Stock Exchange, the center of traditional finance, or TradFi as we like to call it. So we have come a long way, and the IPO of Circle really brought stablecoin to the forefront when it comes to American retail investors. And I understand that you're looking at XRP here. So tell us why and the use case.
Definitely. So we work very closely together with Ripple. We work very closely to actually bring our massive community of over 1 million developers onto the XRP ledger. And so we've been working with them really to actually foster the next generation of companies to launch, both in the financial services sector and all the way, from like the biggest institutions, but actually down to, startups as well, through the hackathons that many people have seen we posted on social media, etc. So for us, we're really bullish on Ripple, on XRP in particular, because of the inroads they've already made into the TradFi sector. They've been, really, really sort of diligent about getting tons of different licenses all across the world to actually make sure that they are positioned to own the space when the institutions actually come into blockchain, into crypto, which they're already starting to do with stablecoins. That's obviously a huge use case, and Ripple has their own RLUSD stablecoin, which is awesome, and we've already started educating our community on them. And ultimately for us, we're just super bullish on the mission, what they're doing already in terms of, bringing all these big institutions. Hidden Road acquisition, for example, is a great example of how they're going to actually be utilizing the XRP ledger in the real world, settling trades, etc., much faster, cheaper than otherwise would be possible. And then obviously also international money payments. All of those different aspects really make it one of the formative companies of the next decade, in our opinion. And I know a lot of people have been asking for my price targets on XRP. And I think it's the first time I'll say it, but I think XRP is heading to $1,000 by 2030. So for me, it's, a super important project, and actually probably one of the most important projects out there at the moment.
And finally, we have less than 60 seconds here, but here we are about to head into the second half of 2025. So what are you paying attention to in blockchain as well as crypto?
I think I'll kick it off. I'll take the first 30 seconds. Number one, I think we're talking about XRP, if we're talking about XLM as well, Stellar, Ripple, what they're doing in the space. Really, neither of them have yet had a DeFi summer or DeFi revolution. We've seen it with Ethereum, which took its market cap into the hundreds of billions. We're looking at Stellar, we're looking at XRP as well, which really have market caps of around 150 billion, still sitting under 200 billion, and they haven't had that DeFi moment yet. So as we come into the second half of this year with what we're doing as well with the EasyA labs, we're looking at priming this whole ecosystem to be set up for this DeFi summer or DeFi year. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you look at Ethereum, a lot of stuff has happened in that ecosystem already. And now I think we're going to, start to really see it. And also we're working, very hard at EasyA to bring all of that onto things like the XRP ledger, Stellar and other world leading blockchains.
Okay, Dom.
All right. So, I know that was a long video, but I thought it was very important because we're starting to see, decentralized companies, Web3 startups and companies starting to be all over the New York Stock Exchange. Heck, there's another interview that I wanted to show, but we're not going to have time to show it on this one. So I may start off Thursday's episode with that clip, but it's from XDC's founders and how they're sitting on the New York Stock Exchange talking. So, family, the largest investors, companies, venture capitalists in the world, family, they pay attention, okay, to the New York Stock Exchange. So that within itself is extremely important. It's extremely bullish. And for them to get on here and say a $1,000 price prediction for XRP, I don't think he was just blowing fluff, but we have to wait until we get there, honestly. But here is one of the guys, right? This is one of the guys here who we just spoke from, or we just heard from, Dom K. And this is his, background. Okay, Dom K, co-founder of Easy A. Okay, from 2018 to 2019, he was in real estate private equity. He was an analyst for Blackstone. Family, just yesterday, the gentleman that was out in New York, the guy who was the active shooter in New York, he was actually taken down on the 33rd floor of the Blackstone building. Right. There's a lot of things with the number 33 when it comes to just a lot of stuff, right, that we're not going to dive into on this show. But if you go do the research, you can find out things that are pretty interesting about Blackstone and how they actually was one of the first founders and funders of BlackRock. And it's just a lot, right? So we saw that happen yesterday. And as you can see, he worked in New York City metropolitan area. So he worked at literally the building where this mass shooting happened at yesterday. So very sad. And also I want to send the condolences out to everybody in New York City that was down in Manhattan and in other areas. Definitely was a crazy time yesterday. I'm sure if you were there or if you have family or friends, just continue to love your people, and because life is way too short. We actually had something happen in Atlanta as well. On Edgewood with 11 people, one person passed, 10 people hurt, and that happened just on Sunday night going into Monday. So it's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world right now. And this is why, not just financially, but you need to have a lot of stuff in your life in order. But I do believe that, if you don't have your finances in order, family, you can't get a lot of other things in order. Okay, just being honest. But back to the show. Don't want to get too far off track, right? But he also in 2017, he worked for Goldman Sachs as a investment banking analyst. Okay. And then also he worked for Morgan Stanley as a sales and trading analyst. Now his careers were not that long, okay, in these spaces. So that's also something that you can that's something you can look at. But he left every position early, like within 1 year, right? So he got all this 1 year experience or whatever the case may be, and that's fine, okay. Regardless, that's okay. Okay, this is his education. Okay, University of Cambridge, BPP Law School, Stanford University. So Phil Kwok, CEO of Easy A, with all of the people behind him, backing him, I believe that this project could potentially do pretty well, moving forward, especially with onboarding, like they said, 1 billion people onto the blockchain. Now, looking at the total crypto market cap right now, we're sitting at 3.88 trillion. We're literally, family, not far away from $4 trillion market cap. And this is when we enter what's called price discovery, because we've never been above that, right? We never really maxed above $4 trillion. And so it's an exciting time, because just like every other digital asset is going to go into price discovery, the total crypto market cap will also go into market cap price discovery. So we could land at $6 to $8 to maybe $10 trillion by the end of this bull run. And then obviously see some pullback after that. But I do believe that we'll see quite a few trillions. And my biggest thing is, will we make it to the 10,000 to the the $10 trillion or the $2-digit trillion market. And we just have to stick around and actually wait and see. But I believe that this potentially has the ability to actually happen. Now, looking at the top 10 cryptos, we have Cardano coming in at number 10, all the way up to XRP being in at number 3 with $184 billion market cap. We still have some ways to go to even reach Ethereum, but I do believe that that is possible in this bull cycle. I believe XRP will be at least the number 2 crypto by the end of this bull cycle. Now, one of our favorite projects that we have been investing into for quite a little time, and now we are headed back up on this show. Thank you, goodness. But we have now broke the 0.005 level, which was the heavy psych level for ZBEC Network. For all those investors that have listened to us on ZBEC Network, let's just talk about it real quick. You could have been buying ZBEC Network on July the 8th for 0.002. Now we are headed back to 0.007, sitting at 0.0054 at the very moment. I believe that we should see a penny on ZBEC Network very soon. And I just want to say congratulations. And I want to say congratulations to everybody that's been tuning in, staying plugged in, getting invested, staying invested, having a plan, staying consistent with their plan, no matter what life looks like. I told y'all, even if life is hard that week, take $2 or $3 and put it into the markets, right? You just have to practice staying consistent, because if you don't practice staying consistent, you will not win this race. So ZBEC Network right now, we have broke this. I told you all that this was a continuation flag pattern. We have finally broke it, and we broke the 0.005 psych level that we've all been waiting on. And now that we've broken that, I believe that we have a clear path on our way to 0.007, which is the all-time high, and on beyond that to a penny and beyond. Family, I want to tell y'all something, okay? I actually want to show y'all something by the charts real quick, if the charts will allow me to, of course. But let's see here real quick. I want to give y'all a real example, okay? So back in 2000 and good God, back in 2000 and I don't even think we can go that far back, but let's just, dang man, we can't even go that far back. But there was this project called Harmony. The ticker symbol is 1, ON1, right? Now, I'm going to go over to my crypto.com real quick, crypto coin market cap. And I'm going to type in the same token because I don't have a really good view of the chart right there. Okay, now I'm personally not in this project anymore, but I made some good income. And this is why I want to show you all this, because we have new people that do not understand the value of getting into an asset at 0.005, 0.006, 0.002, and riding the wave up during the bull run. So on December 26th of 2020, the price of Harmony, if you guys take a look on this chart, was 0.004. Okay, 0.004. Y'all just pay attention real quick, okay? All-time high for Harmony was 37 cents. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. Now, 0.004 was in December, January of 2020 and 2021. And after that, we started to see the bull run. Now, by the time we got to, January 15th of 2022, which in equivalent, that would be January 15th of 2026, okay, which was the peak of the bull run before everything started to fall. As you can see, the peak of the altcoin season. This thing hit 37 cent all-time high, 37 cent on October 26th of 2021. It hit that level, okay? So pay attention. So if I had a win out, and let's say I want y'all to remember this number now, okay? We bought it at 0.004 and it went to what? 37 cents, okay? So what I want to do real quick is I'm going to go back to, ZBEC Network real quick, okay? I want y'all to keep those numbers in your head real quick, family, because you're going to need them, okay? Today we're at 0.005, So let's do some math real quick before we dive into, because I want to show y'all how easy it is to make a bag real quick, okay? Let's say you went and you spent today, you went and spent $300. You're going to get 55,876 coins. So I had about that many of the Harmony tokens back in the day. I think I had about 40 to 50,000 of them. I spent about $300 max. Okay. Now I want y'all to pull out your calculator and let's say ZBET Network does what Harmony did. It goes from 0.005, 0.004 to 37 cents. But you own 55,876 tokens. Let's times that by what was the price? Somebody drop it for me. What was the all-time high of Harmony? What did we see? What are we timing this 55,876 by? I want to make sure y'all paying attention. Somebody drop it real quick for me in the Zoom chat or the YouTube chat. I want to make sure y'all paying attention with me real quick. What was the all-time high that we called out for Harmony? Thank you. 37 cents. So you take $55,876 times it by 37 cents. Good God. Do you understand, family? You spent $300 and at the peak of that bull run, I just calculated $20,674. $20,674. Is anybody okay with turning a $300 investment today by January of next year, literally 5 months from now? Will you be okay with turning $300 to 20 bands? God willing, you went out there and got yourself 100,000 of them. God willing, you went and made that type of investment early, right? You are in for a ride, okay? Just stay patient, stay diligent. And I wanted to give y'all some real numbers because this is what we're working with, right? This is what we're working with. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into today's show because I am behind. Well, we're not behind. We're doing the show, but I want to now dive into some valuable content. So the first video is the stock market 2.0. Welcome.
Welcome to the stock market on CNBC. Here's a famous person you will probably believe because he's on a TV show and his hair doesn't flinch. And he would never tell a lie to make himself rich. Welcome to the stock market on CNBC. Would you like to buy a stock that makes you 2% in weeks? There's no room for growth here. This isn't the best. But we got paid to act extremely impressed. Welcome to the stock market. Here comes Jim Cramer. Everything he says he's buying, he is selling now for sure. Be bearish, be bullish, just stare at the stage. We got a million different ways to enslave. Welcome to the stock market. Focus on these slides. Here's a jobs report from Friday. Here's a hedge fund guy who lies. We got news teams, projections, and fancy ass charts. And a random frightening news reporter stressed out behind red suspense from down music. Welcome to the stock market. Hold on to your stocks while we sell them on your faces and we leave you all in shock. We put good news out all week. We just put out more. And then we fucking sold that shit through the floor. Buy the stock, regret it, so you sell it, bills you think that the news we put out last week meant the market cap will shrink. Then it goes up and you throw up, so you buy it back and blow up. Cause the second that it shows up in your balance, you get notified that cartels in the mainland have been trying to shut it down. It's when Warren Buffett thinks you are a stupid fucking clown. Which massive corporation ain't what you just did. A billionaire just said the thing you bought is not legit. Or can we keep you losing everything all of the time? Rethinking everything all of the time. Evil is deceitful and the truth is hard to find. Leave you searching everywhere all of the time. Can we interest you in bankruptcy all of the time? A bit of poverty all of the time. Evil is deceitful and the truth is hard to find. Leave you searching everywhere all of the time.
Wow. Hey, that was crazy. All right. So now that we played that, and now we have, the floor set to take on some of this garbage that we're going to hear today, I want to start with garbage number one, Mr. Michael Saylor. He came on Bloomberg saying that the bear market is never coming back and Bitcoin is going to $1 million. So I want you all to first pay attention to this garbage.
How do you expect the asset to continue a price increase at these levels that we've seen? I mean, can it keep that up over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years? And at what point do we see, winter coming again? Because that's been a permanent fixture of this asset class, right? It's gone from 0 or 1,000 to 20, and then back down to 3 or 4, and then up to 50, and then back down to 15, and now up to 110. Like, when does it drop again?
Winter's not coming back. We're past that. We're past that phase. If Bitcoin's not going to 0, it's going to $1 million. And you have all the evidence you need to determine that, right? The President of the United States has determined he supports Bitcoin. The cabinet supports Bitcoin. Scott Bessent supports Bitcoin. Paul Atkins has shown himself to be an enthusiastic believer of Bitcoin and digital assets. Ken Tez at CFTC feels the same way. The banks are going to custody Bitcoin. Bitcoin has gotten through its riskiest period. The accounting has been corrected. There's now only 450 Bitcoin a day available for sale by natural sellers. That's the miners. At this level, that works out to about $50 million of Bitcoin available for sale every day. If that $50 million is bought, then the price has got to move up to find any seller that's price sensitive. Now, if you do the math, you'll actually see the Bitcoin treasury companies by themselves are buying the entire natural supply.
Yeah.
BlackRock and the ETFs are buying another measure of that. And we've got nation state actors coming into the space. So I think when Bitcoin rallies, if it surges to 500,000 or $1 million, then maybe we could talk about it crashing down by $200,000 a coin. But at the current price levels, it only takes $50 million to turn the entire drive shaft of the crypto economy one turn. And you've got the Trump Media Organization announcing $2.5 billion. You've got GameStop announcing $500 million. You've got my company that's raising billions and billions of dollars. So the writing is on the wall.
So when all these people, it just sounds to me like all the institutions obviously are pouring into Bitcoin at these high prices or whatever lies they told. We just watched it, right? We can't trust anything on the news at this point, right? I can't trust it. And, I don't know. It just sounds like a disaster, a ticking time bomb, like who's to say Michael Saylor doesn't say, hey, look, we've made enough money. Let's go ahead and back out of this asset right now, right? Who's to say that could not happen? So be on the lookout and stay diligent. Now, Bo Hines, okay, is the executive director, President's Council of Advisors for Digital Assets. Okay, he says the president's working group on digital assets has completed the 180-day report. It will be released publicly on July 30th. That is tomorrow, y'all. America is now leading the way on digital asset policy. This is huge news, family, okay? But I have a quick clip right here to show you all, to hear more about this report being dropped tomorrow on July 30th. I hope you all enjoy.
Other assets, I know we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano that were considered and brought up, maybe a part of the stockpile, right? Are you guys considering other crypto assets? And with the ones that are in those 5, what made you decide on those?
Well, first I'll just say the reason that we structured the SPR like we did is because Bitcoin is different. It's unique. It's a commodity, not a security. As David likes to say, it has the immaculate conception, meaning that there's no issuer. It has intrinsic stored value, and it's traditionally accepted stored value as well. And so, we wanted to make that distinction when we created Digital Assets National Stockpile along with the SPR. The reason that those 5 tokens were listed or mentioned is truly just based on market cap, the 5 largest market caps in this space. But for us, we still want to welcome and encourage innovation across many ecosystems in this space. And we understand that Bitcoin is the grandfather. We understand that it undergirds a lot of what's happening here. But that's not to say that, we don't welcome these other players to continue to innovate, build on the chain, and, create just new technology for Americans to interact with. I mean, we're extremely supportive of that. I think that's one reason why we wanted to mention the digital assets national stockpile and create that as well.
We are getting close, family. We are getting close. Now, I love when Ripple does these crypto in 1 minute videos. It's always informative. And what's better than, hearing this from the captain himself, the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. Let's listen to his crypto in a minute segment.
Let's be honest, who is better, me or David Schwartz? Hi, I'm Brad Garlinghouse. This is Crypto in 1 minute. Prime Broker is really a one-stop shop that allows all kinds of different asset managers, whether these are well-known hedge funds, trading desks, market makers. It gives them a one-stop shop venue to trade and clear everything from digital assets, derivatives, swaps, all kinds of different assets. And these guys are doing trillions of dollars of trades.
Wow.
Historically, those have been really owned by the traditional commercial banks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs. Banks now don't do, well, new players like Hidden Road, a company Ripple bought recently, is new to this space, and they're growing very quickly by serving that same market, but also including digital assets as part of the mix. Having a well-capitalized, a super strong balance sheet player like Hidden Road is allowing more institutions to come into these asset classes against a well-capitalized counterparty, and that is Prime Brokers bringing people into crypto in 1 minute.
So if y'all didn't know, Ripple bought this company called Hidden Road. It was one of the largest acquisitions in the blockchain space to date. They purchased them, and they are a prime brokerage service. So hearing what a prime brokerage is and why it's important to our space, and then turning around on the other side and being able to know, from our research in the past that Ripple purchased a prime brokerage, and now that is a part of their company. That is huge, right? And it shows as to why Ripple over the next 5 months before the end of the year, I'm predicting it, they will have a charter banking license. Ripple will be a bank. We've been saying it for years. I told you all, Ripple is not a crypto company. It is a bank. It is a fintech company. It is a bank. They are a digital bank. That's what Ripple is, right? And now they have the ties in with the treasury. Everybody's like, well, Rosie Rios is on their board, and she was the treasurer of the United States at one point. Her money, her name's on the money. This stuff has been written since 2019, 2020. We've been paying attention to this stuff. So it doesn't like surprise me that now this stuff is happening. Now, I got another thing that I talked about personally a while ago. And I told you all, coming from the cannabis industry, one of the things that I used to help businesses do was white label. So I used to help businesses white label their CBD brands and their THC brands that they wanted. So if they wanted packaging, all the branding, things like that, the laws, the connections, I used to help people with that stuff in the cannabis industry for about 3 or 4 years. That was my focus. So when it comes to white labeling, that's my language. I understand it a little bit, right? And I'm not the greatest, but I understand white labeling. I told you all a while ago, in my opinion, that a lot of these big banks and institutions, they're not gonna, when it comes down to it, because think about it right now, how long did it take for XRP to get to the point where XRP is? How long did it take for HBAR? How long did it take for Bitcoin, Ethereum? How long did it take for these companies to get where they are right now? And think about the companies like Zebic Network that are still building, trying to catch up to everybody else that is up here, right, in the space. What makes you think that a bank, after they get the regulate, because right now banks really can't legally do things with digital assets all the way. It's still a wild, wild west. So by the time the West is not wild anymore, they're not going to have 7 or 8 years to build a technology to be competitive in the financial space. So they're going to partner with existing blockchains, and they're going to decide, okay, I want to white label using this blockchain's code using this software. We want to leverage this software, but we want to write JP Morgan coin. We want to write Citibank token. We want to write, Barclays token, right? We want to write those things on there. So now that I talked about that a while ago, but now it's actually popping up in conversations on CoinDesk. So that idea of white labeling actually was not crazy.
There's been a ton of news about a bit more regulatory clarity emerging in the US market. Riffing on one of the audience questions here about big banks in the US getting into the custody game, do you see them really coming online in terms of conversations? And how is Ripple approaching some of those big banks in the US specifically?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I mean, here in the US, as we all know, the market was pretty much shut until earlier this year, post-election. And banks are very interested because they do know that this is the future of finance. And they do recognize that, there's a real world value in this technology. So a lot of these very ultra large banks have been thinking and waiting on the sidelines, to figure out how to offer digital asset custody solution to their customers. And this is the year that they're finally making the move. Many of them are really going out there, doing research, talking to different vendors and trying to learn and to, decide whether they want to build in-house or work with outside vendors to provide that technology. We've seen, a clear shift right now for large banks to actually partner with industry experts to provide that technology rather than building in-house. This is definitely, the pace is accelerating. I believe many of them will come out with their, custody solution soon, maybe by end of this year or early next year. And it's a very exciting time, right? Just given that US has been behind, right? Just given other markets provided regulatory clarity earlier on, and they were ahead of this market. But the tides are shifting very quickly, and I think a lot of these financial institutions based in the US are moving very quickly.
That's gonna take this company into the fucking stratosphere.
Woo! Hey, I like the sound of that. Okay. So, but if you didn't believe all of the stuff that we just watched, if you still have, problems with believing it, let's go over to Fortune magazine, Fortune Crypto. PayPal, this came out yesterday, July 28th. PayPal to let US merchants accept payment in more than 100 cryptocurrencies. Fintech giant PayPal launched a new payment option on Monday that will let smaller US merchants accept more than 100 cryptocurrencies, right? Options like Trump's meme coin, even the novelty token fart coin. All right. So, okay. So that is something that's already a product that PayPal's coming out with. And we know that PayPal has their own stable coin as well, which is actually in the top 100 cryptocurrencies list. It's called PYUSD or PayPal USD. This is their stable coin. Okay. So PayPal has been making strides, and we know how large PayPal is. Majority people have used PayPal or use PayPal in their life. Now, before we go any further, I want to play this quick 45-second clip. There's a couple of things about it. Number one, it came out on July 27th, so it was a couple days ago. Number two, they dropped it at 10:17 a.m. And y'all know 10:17 is my angel number. So for me to even see this, I didn't even notice that until now. So they dropped it. He dropped this video at 10:17 a.m. Okay. So this means that everything is aligned in my life. That's the sign that 10:17 tells me. Okay. Now I want you to listen to what this man has to say. I don't even know who this guy is. I want to find out. Maybe I can ask Grok or something, but Listen.
To your financial structure. And I will tell you right here, right now, that if you have not stacked your XRP, your XLM, and your HBAR, you are about to get left in the fucking dust.
Woo!
Why do I know this? Because I'm tied to the financial systems, the actual private central banking systems going forward. This was our tasking. This was our job. We've been at this program for decades, not a couple of months, not a couple of years. It's been in the works for decades. Let that number sink in. Decades.
Decades. Decades.
This was the only way that we could free everybody from the system. Sometimes there has to be a bad guy that's painted up front to your financial structure.
Wow. Decades. We've been doing this for decades, fam. XRPL is the new financial system. Hello, congratulations, and welcome to the party. It's starting now. The XRP ledger is the new financial system. It is. The ledger itself is the new financial system. Decades from today, you're going to go back and you're going to see that the XRP ledger will be in the same place that Swift was. I promise you. So if you like, man, what should I invest into? I would screenshot this page. Now, remember, this is not financial advice, but I do believe it's sound advice at this point. It is sound advice that your bag should be packed. And maybe some people just tuned in and they ain't hearing it on YouTube. So I'm gonna play this video one more time because it's only 45 seconds. Listen up.
To your financial structure. And I will tell you right here, right now, that if you have not stacked your XRP, your XLM, and your HBAR, you are about to get left in the fucking dust. Why do I know this? Because I'm tied to the financial systems, the actual private central banking systems going forward. This was our tasking. This was our job. We've been at this program for decades, not a couple of months, not a couple of years. It's been in the works for decades. Let that number sink in. Decades.
Let it marinate on your spirit like some good neck bone juice, family. Come on.
This was the only way that we could free everybody from the system. Sometimes there has to be a bad guy that's painted up front.
All right. So now, after that, has that settled on your skin had that settled in your system just yet? Because I'm not slowing down. CNBC, who we know are definitely propaganda media, but guess what? They talked about XRP, junk about XRP and Ripple for years. Jim Cramer, all of them. Well, guess what? This next evolution of crypto will be televised. You better believe that.
You run one specific product tied to a specific cryptocurrency, and that's XRP. Maybe take us through just what was the impetus behind launching an XRP-based ETF for a guy who's basically run commodity-related funds for years now.
We naturally do derivatives-based products. And so we have commodities-based funds. And then when the derivatives came in, for crypto, we filed immediately for Bitcoin. And for a variety of reasons, including some regulatory changes that happened, we filed under 33 Act, and 40 Act came in the midst of that filing. And 33 Act takes much longer, it takes 270 days versus 75 days. And that really, we missed because of that. We missed our opportunity to be first in a crypto derivative space. And so I'm familiar with XRP, I'm a fan of XRP, and that was natural for us. You still can't own XRP in an ETF, the coin itself, the token itself. But XRP derivatives came out, and slightly before they came out, we figured out a way to package them, put them into a double exposure ETF, which I think is what people wanted. You've got a lot of traders, a lot of very aggressive people that want to do that. And so we put it into a XXRP, which is double exposure for XRP.
Okay, so what exactly are the maybe investors or traders, I guess, in this way? Because for traders, they're the ones often looking for some of these inverse or levered type products. when you target an audience for the ETF market like you have, what exactly do you see as the profile for the people who traffic more intensely in a double XRP ETF?
Well, it's interesting because as an ETF issuer, we don't actually see who buys our things directly. We have to design a product that we think there's demand for. And we very much suspected and knew, I will say, that there was demand for XRP and demand for tradable XRP product where people could get aggressive. And this is an aggressive product. Obviously, it's levered. It's not designed to be bought and held at all. It's designed to be traded each day. And people love it. People love it. A lot of interest has been in it. It has very high trading volume, and good flows have come in the last 4 months.
Uh-oh. Is the XRP ETFs about to start rolling in? I'll let you make that decision.
And the actual, real world use cases that HSBC is working on.
Sure. So HSBC, there's 3 focus area. Number 1 is digital asset custody, which we may talk about in a while. The second area is on HSBC Orion, right? So Orion platform is a private blockchain that we developed to issue bonds. And we have done more than 10 issuance in Hong Kong and Luxembourg over the past 1.5 years, over 1.5 billion of bond issuance. What we are trying to do with Orion, right, is really to experiment with the both public and private sector to see what is the demand for the issuance of tokenized real world asset. And there's different operating model as well. So for example, our collaboration with CMU, the Central Money Making Unit in Hong Kong, we are actually doing an operating model where the existing investor can come in through their existing channels such as Euroclear and Clearstream without being an active participation on our blockchain. So actually that helps to provide a very seamless client experience when it comes to investing into a new asset class. And we are trying to create more features on Orion platform, and we are considering other asset types on top of digital bonds. So other than HSBC Orion, the third area that we are looking at is really a lot on fund tokenization. So for example, recently China AMC, they have appointed HSBC as their tokenization agent in their pilots in Project Ensemble in Hong Kong. So what we are doing there is we are helping them to mint and burn their tokens that represent their money market funds shares.
All right. So in July, this July, we literally witnessed, we talked about this. Lloyds Bank tokenized their money market fund using Hedera, HBAR, right? We saw that happen. XRP, we know that that is also a part of the entire RWA tokenization space, okay? Continue to stay the course. The time is coming very soon, and people that didn't continue to invest, people that did not continue to invest into these assets, people that stopped, people that didn't have a game plan, I promise you, they're going to look back at probably my Instagram and really be upset with themselves. They're probably going to look back at these YouTube videos and they're going to be very upset because they had the same opportunity. They had the same chance to load up on these assets. It is your choice whether you want to be wealthy or not. It's your choice if you want to spend your money on dumb things, go on trips, whatever the case may be. That's your choice, right? My choice was to stay put. My choice was to lock in. My choice was to make an investment every week. My choice was to make an investment every other week. My choice was to make sure I didn't go 1 month without putting something in crypto. That was my choice. The choice is yours, and you will reap the benefits of your choice. But I hope that those benefits are big enough. That's the biggest thing. Now, from the founders of Hedera Hashgraph, Mr. Mance Harmon and Lehman Baird, I thought that this was a great clip to show.
Question's okay, because we're not talking about price specifically, but why do you think, if you agree that it's undervalued, and I do, I've said that publicly, that's no problem. Why do you think it is? let me give an example. That, I mean, I don't really want to use numbers, but you've got Dogecoin, right?
Yeah.
And it's 50 cents. At
Yeah.
the same time, H bar 27. And there's just light years apart.
There are a lot more people that want to gamble than actually
Than
look at
invest.
real investments.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
It's just, what's the market for gambling? Huge.
Just, not backed by anything but the great fool theory. I'll buy it today for X because somebody will buy it tomorrow for Y.
Exactly. So I think that's part of it.
Okay.
I think that's part of it. Why is Doge going up or down?
Who knows? But okay, so that explains
That's
that.
part of it.
But why is it so H bar so undervalued? Okay.
And I don't want to answer your question.
No.
I don't want to get in trouble and hurt the project.
And I'm
But
not
what
saying
I do want to answer.
Yeah.
In the late 90s,
Yes.
we had this web thing that had come along.
Yes.
Everybody starts a web company.
Yes.
And they, I like pets. I'll make a pets.com. I don't have a business plan. I don't actually know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to go to
Like that.
VCs
Yeah.
and get millions of dollars from VCs because
100%, yeah.
I'm going to have a website and web is cool.
Yes.
Okay.
And web succeeds. All web succeeds. You
Also,
can't
web
go wrong.
succeeds.
Yeah.
So some of those, on paper are billion-dollar companies and they have nothing but pets.com or, a domain and literally nothing. They don't even have a business plan. They don't know what they're going to do. And there are two kids in their dorm room and this is the, billion-dollar company.
Yes.
Then there were also mixed in some little companies like Amazon.com that said, we're going to think carefully about how to build something that actually changes the world.
Come on, Lehman.
We're going to build something that makes people's lives better. And we're going to build a company around it. We'll name it Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they were worth a lot to the VCs too. So we have all these people worth a lot to the VCs. People are gambling on them. Then you had the dot-com crash and the chaff got blown away.
Uh-oh. History repeats itself, family. Everybody wants to have a crypto company. Everybody wants to come out with something in Web3. Everybody wants to do that. If you haven't noticed, that's why all these projects are out. Everybody. Okay? Everybody want to have their own cryptocurrency. Okay? That's a thing. Wait until the Web3 bubble pops. Wait until the popping happens. Only the companies that were well thought out, like the Amazons. See, pets.com, Ask Jeeves, all these companies, they were out there. They were running the plays, taking money, going public, doing all these things. While you had the Amazons sitting quiet in the corner, developing their plan, a plan that has lasted still decades. Okay? So this is why we invest into Hedera Hashgraph, because it is doing the right things. Now, we're getting close to the end of the show, but this came out July 25th, okay? And I could not help but to bring it up. This article, and I would recommend that y'all go and read it for yourself, but it talks about REITs or REITs, okay? If you don't know what a REIT is, REITs are real estate, basically ETFs for the real estate space, right? It's basically exchange traded products for the real estate space. So let's say you want to get into real estate, but you don't want to actually own the property. You can actually invest into certain companies, have REITs, and you can purchase these REITs. So let's talk about REITs going on to Web3. As we continue in our series exploring REITs and Web3, diving into the key features and components that make up our end-to-end RWA and DeFi solution, we aim to provide a comprehensive overview of both real-world asset tokenization in general, as well as Hedera's role with the emerging industry. Okay, so here we go. For this edition, we sat down with the CEO of RWA Marketplace Ecosystem, StegX, as a guest contributor to share his perspective on property asset on chain, specifically in areas of governance and legal considerations. Okay, I would highly recommend that you all go and read this. It talks about the traditional REIT model, okay, and how we can tokenize real estate from theory to practice. So it talks about while traditional real estate funds and REITs concentrate governance in the hands of professional managers, tokenization promises something new: digital assets, programmable ownership, and direct investor participation. Okay. So this stuff is about to happen, y'all, and it's happening faster than we think. Real estate will be going on chain, and some of the largest people around the world are having these conversations. Okay. They are having these conversations. Last thing that I wanted to talk about was this, y'all. Binance US is listing XDC tomorrow. Congratulations to all those XDC holders out there. You know, we've been holding this one for a while and it's been a long ride, but finally you can get some XDC on Binance US, which is one of the largest exchanges in the world. The #1 exchange in the world will be listing finally. Listing XDC. Family, the only place you can get XDC right now is Uphold, unless you go to a DEX, unless you go to a decentralized exchange. On centralized exchanges, you cannot get XDC on Coinbase, crypto.com. Only place is Uphold. We're finally seeing this asset being listed on Binance.us. That is a huge move and step forward for the XDC community. And I couldn't be more proud but to be one. Okay. And last but certainly not least, on July 28th, FIS partners with Circle to unlock stablecoin money movement functionality for financial institution customers. Okay. So FIS, which is FIS, which is Global Financial Technology Leader, FIS has announced a new partnership. Okay, their goal is to bring a broader strategy to support digital assets and currencies, exemplifying FIS strategic commitment to introduce innovative technology solutions to clients across the money life cycle. Now, you're probably like, where do I know this name FIS from, right? Well, check this out right here. Okay, I never forget I don't forget nothing. I don't forget nothing. Let me show y'all real quick. Okay. FIS, okay, look at this right here. FIS and Hedera have a significant relationship in the realm of financial technology and DLT. FIS, okay, also WorldPlay, okay, is on the governing council of Hedera Hashgraph. They leverage Hedera's DLT. They leverage it, okay? One thing that we know is that the Hedera version of USDC is live. So that rail for USDC is live. Well, what a time to be alive with now them being partnered with what? FIS as well. And indirectly, they will now be related to what? Hedera. This only will build more interoperability in the space. And I just want to take the time to say congratulations to each and every single one of you all, because you fought the good fight, you stuck through it, and now we will benefit from this bull run that's incoming in the next couple of weeks, y'all. We are days, moments, seconds, minutes away. This bull run can start at any time, and you should be prepared. If you did not get signed up for our boot camp, unfortunately, we started yesterday, and the train has left the station. Doot, doot. Okay? Doot, doot. The train has left the station, family. Okay? So if you are not a part of this boot camp, we will have our next boot camp in 6 weeks. Okay, so hopefully you have your finances together, and hopefully these markets don't take off too crazy before you get your opportunity, because I believe that this will be the last boot camp before we start our bull run. That's my belief. Rich in 6 weeks is my new motto. Okay, wealthy in 6 weeks is my new motto, and I hope that you all find one as well for your life. With that being said, I do need to get going. I do not have time for any Q&A after today's show. If you all are interested in joining our Discord community, you can get a free 3 days into our Discord community. All you have to do is click the link in our YouTube bio. Just go over to our main channel, click the link tree, and you'll see where you can choose whether you want to do our basic tier or our highest tier for our Discord group. But either one of those, you do get 3 days for free. So looking forward to seeing y'all on our next episode, which will be episode number 290 on Thursday. Family, we are 10 episodes away now from 300 episodes. And like our boy said, hey now, you're a rock star. Congratulations, each and every single person. And I'm looking forward to seeing y'all at the beaches and the banks, because listen, the yacht trip that we're going to have, the yacht party we're going to have in the Amalfi Coast is going to be absolutely beautiful. And I hope to see each and every single one of you all there. Have an amazing day. And if you need